Tamara, for our viewers who don't know, can you really explain what house arrest is?
Absolutely. House arrest is basically the exact same thing as serving your time in a prison cell in jail. However, I get to do it from home. So I am not permitted to leave my property unless I have permission from my probation officer, and she has to send a letter with me that I am to carry on me at all times. Should I be pulled over or somebody see me out in public, saying that I have permission to be out and about. Basically, the difference is I can cook my own food. The food is much much better here, and my grandsons live here, so it's not all bad.
But I mean, you have to obviously go out, as you mentioned, food to get groceries, right? So you're allowed to do the basic
Yes.
necessities of life.
Correct. Yes. So I'm permitted once a week. I have 5 hours per week to go out and do what they call necessities of life. So that would be things like picking up groceries, putting gas in my vehicle, doctor appointment, any type of thing like that. If it's not for necessities of life, then I'm not allowed to leave. And it's unusual. I was speaking with Chris Barber yesterday, and he is actually allowed his necessities of lifetime, but he's also allowed 3 hours of leisure time. So his probation officer, what that means is he could go to Swift Current and have supper, or he could go into town and watch a movie. He'll have 3 hours in which he can do that. But my probation officer has not mentioned anything about any type of leisure time so far.
Can you maybe appeal and have something similar for yourself?
Well, I think we're just gonna give it some time. I think she needs to get a sense of who I am and the type of person that I am, and maybe when she sees I'm not a threat to society, she can give me exemptions. That's what that's called. It would be an exemption or permission for me to go out and do something.
Now, you and Chris Barber also have to complete about, 100 hours of community service as part of your sentence. Do you know what that looks like at this point?
Well, I'm not sure what Chris is doing. I've already had some offers. I'm allowed to go to church. I'm allowed to attend religious services every Sunday. And my pastor has reached out to me with an offer of community service. So I'll talk to him and see what that looks like. But there's so many things to do in the community, anyways. So I don't think I'm going to have any problem finding some work to do.
Now, looking back at the Freedom Convoy, Tamara, how it all unfolded, is there anything you would have done differently, lessons learned that you want to share with our viewers?
Well, hindsight is 2020. I think for the most part, uh, I think for the most part, look, I left the POEC, the Public Order Emergency Commission, in the fall of 2022. And I walked out of that entire inquiry thinking that the Ontario Provincial Police and the Freedom Convoy were the most professional and organized out of all the organizations who testified during that whole inquiry. So, I think we did the best that we could with what we had. In hindsight, we definitely would have had some better vetting processes in place. At that point, we were all very naive and trusting and really just latched on. Anyone that wanted to help, we accepted their help, which obviously has caused us some problems in the end. But for the most part, Canadians remain peaceful and united. And, there's bad apples that show up in any type of movement. So I don't think so. I don't know what we could have done differently.
Now, let's talk about the support you received throughout the entire process
Mm.
from your family and friends. How important has that been for you?
It's been massively important. And Chris and I tried to address this anytime we're speaking to anyone. This has been quite a journey for the both of us. And I feel like it all started with Canada right alongside us, anyways. And I feel like they've been right beside us throughout this whole process. Having people show up in court, we always had regular supporters show up in court. I get letters and messages all the time of support, and it's mostly letters of appreciation and gratitude. I don't get a lot of hate mail anymore, which is quite nice. But it's meant a lot to both of us, and it's really helped to keep us going. I mean, this has not always been easy.
One of the organizers of the Freedom Convoy is currently under house arrest at Medicine Hat, Alberta. Tamara Lich, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Hal. As always, it's a pleasure.